Well, at the end of our course, The Nature of Genius, what have we seen? What have we learned? Well, we have learned some things that genius is not. Genius is neither exclusively a high IQ nor exclusively hard work. Genius is not that sudden aha or eureka moment. Rather, it is often the product of years of quiet cogitation, both conscious and unconscious. We've learned that a genius is not to be confused with a prodigy. Geniuses create. Prodigies mimic the status quo perpetuated by adults. Geniuses are not the firstborn sons of the wealthy or the aristocracy. Instead, genius seemed to come out of nowhere, regardless of birth order, gender, or race. And almost always, they come from, surprisingly, the middle class, almost always from the middle class. Genius is not generational. It's a one-generation outlier. The generation after the genius is usually undistinguished. Geniuses do not die young. Their passionate optimism seems to drive them on almost forever. And finally, we ended by seeing that geniuses are often not very nice people. Genius and personal behavior, genius and morality often run in two separate, non-intersecting tracks. Okay, as to what is genius? Well, genius arises from an unforeseeable combination of personal characteristics, the drivers of genius that we have explored. Natural gifts, curiosity, passion, imagination, risk tolerance, contrarian thinking, and eagerness to move to gain situational advantage, the capacity to relax at critical moments, to name just a few. These all come together unpredictably at a critical moment. Instead of a prescriptive recipe, a better metaphor for genius is perhaps a perfect storm of enablers that generate exceptional performance. So what then have we learned from studying these perfect storms, these geniuses that can improve our own lives? Well, let's start with recommendations for students and parents. As we have seen, unexpectedly, our geniuses had a very checkered career with regard to any sort of formal education and or stellar academic performance. Some were academic stars. Jeff Bezos at Princeton, summa cum laude. Marie Curie, valedictorian of her school. But many were not. Winston Churchill, Charles Darwin, Pablo Picasso, and Steve Jobs, for example, were all mediocre to poor students. Thus, students and parents don't obsess over those test scores and those grades. The geniuses didn't. As Chinese entrepreneur Jack Ma suggested, the most important thing in planning a program of study is to find a variety of challenging courses that push you into unfamiliar territory, allow you to explore. Now, admission to college. Don't believe that life will end if you or your child does not get admitted to an elite university. Judging from our geniuses, the importance of an elite school may be overrated. More geniuses seem to have dropped out of these elite schools than finished. And, as I have said to generations of students and parents applying to Yale, there are 300 great colleges in the United States. It doesn't really matter to which you go. What matters is what is inside of you. Getting into that elite school may be more for the parents to impress with at cocktail parties than it is about the child's development. The geniuses that we studied didn't seem impressed with social standing. Beethoven, for example, once wrote to the Holy Roman Empress that he would come over to her palace and play for her when he had time. Now, that first job out of college, have the courage to move to a major metropolitan center or a university. Situational advantage. That's where the ideas, opportunities, competition, and resources are for your ideas. Was there a single genius who did not follow their passion and move to a metropolis or a university? also that first job, it shouldn't be about the money or the benefits, but rather the degree of responsibility you are given and the opportunity to travel and to learn. Don't be risk averse. Our geniuses weren't. Taking risks, trying things, failing, and getting fired. Well, getting fired might be the best way you have to find a new job and gain new experiences. Many of our geniuses, Edison, Tesla, Musk, failed mightily and often. Next takeaways for all of us, and not just students and parents. If I had to identify from what I've learned about genius, the two enablers that separate the geniuses from the rest of us, those two essential traits are curiosity and imagination. How to satisfy your curiosity? Well, of course, spend your money not on things, but rather on experiences. Don't take the same vacation twice. But now that I think of it, did any of our obsessive geniuses ever really take a vacation? If you're lost on a vacation or elsewhere, turn a negative into a positive. You're not lost, you're just exploring. The easiest of all ways to satisfy your curiosity. Do what the geniuses do and what they did. As we saw, they are all voracious readers and enroll in these free Yale Coursera online courses. For your imagination, remember our geniuses. They hit a target that no one else could see. How do you have a far-seeing creative insight? Well, first, you have to know stuff. You have to study. You have to learn the basics of your profession. Concentrate on putting a lot of problem-specific information in your head. And then, most importantly, you do just the opposite. You take time to relax. Our geniuses, consciously or unconsciously, push themselves to learn, but then they also carved out time for creative relaxation. So relax your way to creativity. How do you do that? Well, the best way to relax is to go to sleep and then make use of your dreams. Here's a list of creative people who said that great ideas came to them in a dream. At the bottom of the list, you see baseball manager Dusty Baker, interviewed by the New York Times during the World Series of 2021. Quote, "These things, they come to me, and you can't really control when they come. I can go to sleep in 30 seconds. But then at 3:30 in the morning, my brain wakes me up with the lineup changes or thoughts that I have to say to somebody or something. I always keep pencil or pen by my bed and a piece of paper and write it down, or else I'll forget some of those great thoughts that I had in the middle of the night when I should be asleep." End quote. Well, maybe baseball players are celebrities and not geniuses. But look at all those other creative geniuses and the different fields in which they created: poetry, literature, music, chemistry, mathematics, physics, and architecture. Each said that some of their best ideas came to them in a dream. And Dusty Baker fits right in, alongside Nobel Prize-winning chemist Otto Loewi and physicist Albert Einstein and architect I.M. Pei. Think of that pyramid in the Louvre. And famous guitarist Jimi Hendrix. All said that they kept writing materials next to them at night. When are you most creative? Well, a 2016 survey reported in Business Insider showed that 72% of Americans get their best ideas in the shower. Why? Again, they are relaxing because of the lack of distraction, because of the presence of white noise. Relaxing water, warm water is relaxing, and the residue of the liberating neurotransmitter, acetylcholine. But here again, once you have that brilliant insight, don't forget to capture your most relaxed moment on paper. Here's my little notebook in the master bathroom at home. Now, during the day, how do you relax so as to tap into your subconscious? By napping or even daydreaming. Churchill, Edison, Kennedy, Eleanor Roosevelt, well, they were all famous nappers. And yes, psychologists have even gone so far as to show that daydreaming doesn't have to be a waste of time. It can produce creative ideas. Also, listen to music, but don't think about the lyrics. Exercise, but only at a regular, moderate pace. Don't think about the process of exercise. You want to relax. Walk, but walk alone. Thus, don't talk. Talking to someone just distracts you from your creative thoughts. Dickens, Thoreau, Beethoven, Einstein, Curie, Alcott, well, almost all of these creative geniuses were avid walkers. Mark Twain, Bill Gates, well, they were and are avid pacers. Ride on a train, that repetitive clickety-clack, 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 the gentle rocking pattern will make you soporific, convey you to a semi-sleep land where there are no barriers between categories of information. Finally, engage in any mind-numbing household chore. Ironing, vacuuming, washing the dishes, mowing the lawn, even milking a cow. Anything that is so boring that you start to daydream. Mindless repetitions will allow your mind to wander. Said painter Grant Wood, quote, "All the great ideas I've ever had came to me while I was milking a cow." Was he joking? Jokes, humor, well, they can cause us to laugh. And the very physiological process of laughing, medical scientists say, relaxes us, which opens the door to more creativity. So let me end this segment with a joke. What do you call a genius who is not a genius? An oxymoron. So now go out there and be creative.